Aaliyah Boston just sat down with Sue Bird, and what she revealed about Caitlin Clark changes everything. No sugarcoating, no PR spin, just raw truth about pressure, chemistry, and what it really feels like to share the floor with the most watched player in women's basketball. Before we dive in, make sure to hit like, drop your take in the comments, and subscribe here at Chloe WNBA, the place for real stories behind the game. This season has been a whirlwind for the Indiana Fever. Between injuries, new faces, and a completely redefined roster, nothing has been simple. And right at the center of all this chaos, Caitlin Clark, the player everyone's watching, the one carrying sky-high expectations, and the spark that has changed the entire conversation around the WNBA. But this isn't just about one player. It's about the league itself growing in front of our eyes, about teams learning to adapt, about chemistry being built under an impossible microscope. And no one has felt that tension more than Aaliyah Boston. Rookie of the Year in 2023, an all-star in her own right, Boston suddenly found herself playing alongside the sport's most scrutinized player, while the world expected perfection from day one. Over the next few minutes, we're going to unpack it all. Every candid line from Boston's interview with Sue Bird, every moment that tested the Fever's patience and resilience, and most importantly, what the story tells us about the WNBA today, its growth, its challenges, and the players who are redefining what it means to compete at the highest level. It's just been a frustrating year, Boston admitted, and she isn't exaggerating. Injuries hit hard, not just to Caitlin Clark, but across the roster. Players coming and going, new signings leaving unexpectedly, it's enough to shake any team's rhythm. In basketball, chemistry isn't optional. It's the invisible thread that makes passes click, screens land perfectly, and fast breaks feel seamless. And when that thread keeps breaking, the entire team feels it. From the very start of the season, the Fever knew it wouldn't be easy. Preseason meetings were filled with the mantra, "Next woman up, be ready." No matter what happens, be ready to compete. That mindset became their lifeline. But even with the best mental preparation, nothing could fully compensate for the stop-and-start nature of the season. Injuries forced rotations to shift, and with every new player coming in, the team had to reset and relearn their chemistry. Boston explained it bluntly. You can't predict how long C is going to be out, so signing someone like Aerie was amazing because she could run the point and call her own number. That's been our biggest blessing. Even the simplest plays required adjustment. When Clark was on the floor, the pace changed. She wanted speed, intensity, and constant movement. Everyone had to be alert, constantly scanning for her passes and anticipating the next play. But when she was off, the team had to recalibrate, focusing more on half-court execution and strategy. The constant shifting made every game a test, not just of skill, but of adaptability. This section of the season wasn't glamorous. No highlight reels, no viral moments, just countless hours of practice, missed shots, misunderstood passes, and quiet moments of frustration. And yet, through it all, Boston's message was clear. This struggle was part of the process. It wasn't a failure, it was a learning curve. When Aaliyah Boston sat down with Sue Bird, she didn't hold back. This wasn't a polished PR statement. It was honesty stripped down to its core. We weren't given that grace period of getting to play with someone you've never played with, Boston explained, her voice steady but layered with the weight of experience. Think about that for a second. The Fever suddenly had the league's most watched player on the floor, a player whose every possession would be replayed, dissected, and debated online. And yet fans and media expected instant perfection. Boston, the Rookie of the Year just one season ago, suddenly became part of a high-pressure experiment. Learn Caitlin Clark's tendencies, timing, and vision overnight. Boston's words hit because she was speaking from daily experience. Every practice, every game, every interaction with Clark came under a microscope. She said that when C's on the floor, be ready to run, be ready to get out because she wants to play fast. You have to stay alert the entire time. It's the kind of intensity most fans can't imagine, where one missed connection isn't just a point lost, it's fodder for viral clips, sarcastic tweets, and endless criticism. But Boston didn't shy away from acknowledging Clark's brilliance. She praised Clark's passing ability, describing moments when no words or signals were needed, just a glance, a shift of the feet, and Boston knew exactly where the ball was going. That level of trust and instinct didn't happen overnight. It was built, play by play, possession by possession. And Boston didn't just survive it, she grew through it. But here's the key. The pressure didn't just fall on Clark's shoulders. Boston explained that the hype surrounding a generational talent spreads across the entire team. Every teammate must elevate, adapt, and carry their own weight under the microscope. Every turnover, every misstep, every miscommunication is amplified. And yet, Boston's perspective was not of resentment. It was one of motivation. She embraced the challenge. Boston's candidness goes beyond basketball. It's a lesson in resilience, patience, and growth under pressure. She acknowledged the social media trolls, the criticism, the unrealistic expectations, but she also reframed it. Use it as fuel, not distraction. That's maturity at just 23 years old. Her insights remind us that being teammates with Clark isn't about highlight reels. It's about chemistry, trust, and learning to thrive under the brightest spotlight the WNBA has ever seen. And it's this truth, the unvarnished, real-life experience, that fans rarely get to hear. If there's one thing that separates today's WNBA from past generations, it's the noise. Every game, every highlight, every minor mistake becomes instant content. For Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, that spotlight has been both a blessing and a curse. The hype machine surrounding Clark has been unmatched. On one side, it fueled record-breaking viewership, packed arenas, and a surge of merchandise sales. The Fever became a must-watch team overnight, not because of their win-loss record, but because people wanted to see her. For the WNBA as a whole, this was gold. The league has spent decades fighting for mainstream attention, and suddenly a rookie from Iowa was driving headlines across ESPN, SportsCenter, and social platforms that rarely gave women's basketball more than a passing mention. But here's the catch. That same attention created an unforgiving environment. Every missed shot by Clark was turned into a meme. Every turnover was clipped, slowed down, and captioned with snark. Social media trolls, many of whom didn't even watch women's basketball games before, piled on. For Boston and her teammates, this noise wasn't background, it was constant. You see it, Boston admitted in her interview with Sue Bird. Even if you don't want to, it's everywhere. And this is the part fans often forget. These players aren't robots. They're young women carrying the weight of a league's future while scrolling through timelines filled with criticism, hot takes, and armchair coaches dissecting their every move. Yet, Boston and Clark responded differently to the pressure. Clark, already accustomed to the national spotlight from her Iowa days, had learned to treat it like static, annoying but not defining. Boston, on the other hand, was still learning to balance her natural leadership with the circus that now surrounded every Fever game. She admitted that sometimes it got to her, but she leaned on teammates and staff to remind her, focus on the work, not the noise. This is where the story becomes bigger than basketball. The Fever weren't just battling opponents, they were battling perception. Wins mattered, yes, but so did optics. How the team looked on social media could feel as heavy as what the scoreboard said. The media storm is still raging. Some call it unfair, others say it's the price of fame. But for the Fever, this has become their reality. Learning to play through the noise, to build chemistry while the whole world is watching, and to turn social media pressure into actual performance fuel. And yet, even with the storm swirling around them, Boston and Clark are proving something important. That growth in the WNBA doesn't come quietly. It comes with fire, criticism, attention, and resilience. The early months of the season tested the Fever in ways no preseason could prepare them for. Boston and Clark had literally never played together before, and yet the world expected seamless basketball chemistry from day one. Boston's frustration was clear, but her honesty was what made fans sit up and listen. "We weren't given that grace period of, getting to play with someone you've never played with," she said. Think about it. In the NBA, even superstar duos take time to click. LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh didn't dominate instantly. They had months, sometimes a full season, to understand each other's tendencies. Yet, in the WNBA, the scrutiny was instantaneous. Every pass Boston didn't catch perfectly, every delayed read in transition, was dissected on social media as if she had failed. And yet, Boston didn't shy away from the struggle. She embraced it. Slowly, she began to understand Clark's rhythm, where her eyes pointed, how she moved her feet, the subtle shifts in body language that signaled a pass before a word was even spoken. It wasn't magic, it was hundreds of shared possessions, endless film study, and the kind of trust that only comes from patience. Boston described a turning point. Suddenly, a glance from Clark was all she needed. No shouts, no verbal cues, just instinctive reading of the floor. That's when the Fever truly began to click, when the chemistry became visible to fans and opponents alike. But this growth didn't erase the pressure, it reframed it. Boston's words made it clear that playing with a superstar like Clark elevated everyone. Teammates had to be sharper, faster, and more aware. The game moved at a pace where hesitation could cost points, but the reward was cohesion that could dominate defenses once the rhythm clicked. Boston also addressed the trolls. She'd seen the tweets calling her the worst big she'd ever seen, despite her accolades as Rookie of the Year and an All-Star. Her response? Focus on growth, not noise. She's already her toughest critic. External criticism could either drain her or fuel her. And she chose fuel. This section shows the heart of the story. Growth isn't linear, and chemistry isn't instantaneous. It's messy, it's challenging, and it's under an unforgiving spotlight. But the Fever's journey proves that patience, trust, and resilience can turn even the most chaotic start into something truly formidable. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player, she's a catalyst. Her arrival in the WNBA has created ripples far beyond the Indiana Fever. Every possession, every shot, every highlight draws attention not only to her, but to the league, the team, and the players around her. And Aaliyah Boston has been living in the eye of that storm. Boston made it clear that Clark's presence benefits everyone. The extra eyes on the Fever bring more exposure, more coverage, and ultimately more opportunities for teammates. What's crucial is that this isn't about ego, it's about growth. Every player on the roster is learning to perform under heightened scrutiny while developing a rhythm with a generational talent. Everything is for a reason, Boston explained. Injuries, new players, adjustments, it all tests the team, but it also shapes them. The intensity forces players to elevate their own game, to see the court differently, and to anticipate actions they wouldn't otherwise notice. It's a pressure cooker, yes, but it's also a classroom where growth happens fast. And the impact goes beyond the Fever. The WNBA itself benefits. Clark's arrival has sparked national conversations, driven higher viewership, and helped showcase the league as a serious, high-level professional sport. That kind of exposure is a game changer for women's basketball, and the Fever are at the forefront of that movement. Yet Boston never lost perspective. She acknowledged the challenges while celebrating the progress. Learning to play with Clark, handling social media pressure, and navigating the expectations of fans and analysts, these aren't obstacles, they're stepping stones. Every misstep, every viral clip, every adjustment on the court is building a stronger, more cohesive team. Boston's candid reflections offer a window into the reality of professional sports today. It's not just about individual brilliance. It's about teamwork, adaptation, and resilience in the face of relentless attention. The Fever are no longer just a team. They're a symbol of what the WNBA can achieve when talent, opportunity, and exposure converge. By the end of this journey, it's clear. Clark's spotlight doesn't overshadow Boston or anyone else. It illuminates them, pushes them, and creates a path for growth for the team, for the league, and for women's basketball as a whole. As we've seen, this season for the Indiana Fever has been anything but ordinary. Injuries, new faces, constant adjustments, and the immense spotlight on Caitlin Clark have created challenges most teams never face. Yet through all the start-stop struggles, social media scrutiny, and sky-high expectations, one thing stands out: growth. Aaliyah Boston's honesty on Sue Bird's podcast give us a rare inside look into what it truly takes to play with a superstar. She acknowledged the mistakes, the pressure, and the scrutiny, but she also highlighted the rewards: developing chemistry, learning to anticipate at a higher level, and thriving under the most intense spotlight the WNBA has ever seen. Clark's presence has undoubtedly changed the game, but Boston's reflections remind us that basketball is never a one-person story. Every assist, every cut, every rebound belongs to a team learning to play together in real time. And when you consider the bigger picture, this isn't just about the Fever. It's about the WNBA itself. The league is growing, evolving, and proving that women's basketball can demand attention, respect, and national conversation. Now, it's your turn. How do you see the Fever season unfolding? Will the chemistry continue to improve? Can Clark and Boston build an unstoppable duo? And most importantly, how does this reflect the future of the WNBA? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this is a conversation every fan should have. Before you go, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Chloe WNBA, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next deep dive into women's basketball. Your support not only helps the channel grow, it helps shine a spotlight on stories that deserve to be told.